All right, we're here for our weekly baseball press conference with head coach Danny Hayden. Coach, obviously a very successful week last week. You won the Nuxall Championship and swept Bowling Green. What can you just say about this week that week in general?
Yeah, it was a really good week for our team. Played some good baseball teams and played some really good baseball pretty consistently. I think inside of those 5 wins, there were different ways that we won every game. And those are the things, when you find different ways to win games, I think that's an ingredient of really good teams. Especially in the Nuxall, we played far from perfect baseball in both of those games. We played very aggressive, but we did not play the cleanest games we've played all year, but we still competed for 9 innings and in one case 11 innings and found a way to win those games. That was a really good sign of toughness, and like I said, when you can find different ways to win baseball games, I think that's a good ingredient from a good baseball team.
What got into Cal Elvers this weekend against Bowling Green?
Yeah, Cal had a really good weekend. I think it's been coming for a while. Cal's made a couple of slight swing adjustments with Coach Dedman and a couple approach adjustments that really started taking hold, I think, against Eastern Michigan in that weekend. And it's been a steady build-up from that weekend to what we're seeing now with him playing some really fearless baseball in the batter's box. And again, we talk about it. Anytime we talk about Cal, it's getting overshadowed because he's hitting 350-something and he's starting to hit some home runs and all that. But, man, he is playing really good baseball behind the plate. He's doing a really, really good job with our pitching staff right now, and I think that gets overshadowed with his offensive output, but he's doing a really good job behind the plate too.
And then on Saturday, you had Spencer Mraz, take a no-hitter in 8. What's going through your mind when he's through 5, through 6, through 7, and he hasn't given up a hit yet?
Yeah, I don't think a ton changes. I think a little bit in our heads is that the game was getting out of reach a little bit, and we wanted to be smart with Spencer's pitch count and make sure that he's ready to go back this weekend, that he's 100% fresh for Ball State. So I had that going in my head a little bit just to make sure we had somebody ready to go as soon as there was trouble or if there was a hit, or maybe that he wasn't going to be allowed to finish that. If he did go hitless through the 7th as well, maybe we wouldn't have let him finish the 8th and 9th just because the pitch count was getting up there a little bit. Anytime you strike out 13 guys, you're going to have a pretty high pitch count. But, man, it was fun to watch. I mean, that was a lot of fun for every guy in our dugout, and I'm sure it was an exhilarating experience for Spencer, too, to be that dialed in and that in the zone. But yeah, it was a ton of fun to watch in the dugout, watching him compete.
And then Parker Massman, he struggled a little bit in the early goings of the season, but the last couple of series he's started to show signs of getting it going. Are you seeing those signs of improvement and kind of getting back to where he wants to be as well? Yeah,
Parker's a really confident kid, and he's a guy that we have to do a good job, and I think it's something that we did last week, but continuing to find good matchups for Parker and pitchers that he can handle, because when Parker's going well in the batter's box, he is good enough to carry us offensively. He's that kind of good of an offensive player. But we had to be smart about some of the matchups we got for him to get his confidence up and to get him going. But he's a really smart hitter, and 99% of the time that works in his advantage. I think he was probably getting in his way a little bit early in the season, and now he's working through some of those things. Those are growing pains that happen when you're a sophomore and you're playing every day and trying to get things right. But I'm excited about where he's at right now, and I think he's only going to get better from here on out.
And then the team itself is starting to get some more national attention, some that you haven't seen in your time here. So how is your team reacting to that, and how are you using that momentum going forward?
Yeah, I think we will not react to anything that anybody else says about our program. I think we know what makes us good, and we know what could derail us. And if we get focused on anything besides today, then we're not going to be a very good baseball team. So our focus will continue to be on what's in front of us in the immediate future. Today we play UC. That'll be our immediate focus, is to make sure we take care of business, that we're prepared for batting practice, that we attack a pregame, and that we take care of business against the UC Bearcats. And that'll be our focus. And if we continue to do that, then I think we will continue to find success.
All right. For this week, obviously, first up, you have UC. Obviously, not quite the stakes that were last week with the Nuxall Championship, but still, it's always a big game when you're playing the rival Bearcats, correct?
For sure, and when you're playing good baseball, you want to keep playing good baseball, and like I just hit on the way we do that is the opponent doesn't matter, and really the stage doesn't make a huge difference. It's our consistent approach to what we're doing and to how we show up, and it's Miami UC is a big game. Anytime I get to get on the field against Coach Guggens, he's a mentor of mine. He's a guy that I look up to a lot. That's going to have a little extra incentive for me as well. So if there's another team in the other dugout, we're going to do everything we can do to win. Competition's fun. Our team loves competition. Anytime we can create it in practice, the practice goes better. And obviously when we get to play other games, we've shown this year that more often than not, we can outcompete people. We don't have to play perfect, but we'll find a way to outcompete people. And I trust that they're gonna try and do that again tonight against UC.
All right, and finally, another big series coming up this week, and finally get to be back at home. But Ball State, and they're having a hell of a season. So what can you tell us about the Cardinals?
Yeah, Ball State can really pitch it. They got a lot of guys back from last year that could really pitch it. I think it'll be a great weekend. I think it'll be similar to last weekend. Or last year against Ball State. We ended up taking 2 out of 3, but it was 2 very, very close games, 2 ultra-competitive games. And then, we play them in the tournament as well and have a really good baseball game with them there. So I think it'll be very similar to that. I'm really excited. I think that'll bring out the best in our guys if we truly love competition the way that it looks like we have since the fall. I think we'll get to see the best version of our baseball team this weekend because it definitely is 2 really good teams going after it.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.